would now like to introduce, and I hope I'm pronouncing this properly, Miah Jeffra, a Lambda Literary Fellow in Nonfiction.
Oh, exotic names. I would just like to thank Lambda, Randall, and all the little possums. This is an excerpt from a collection of shorts titled The Violence Almanac. And this is Coffee Spilled. The cafe is a worn, warm storefront on a stretch of street that used to be deemed unseemly with its dissonance, with its whiff of raw fish heads and burnt pinto beans, with its car horns yelling across corners, with its hand-painted signs above doors, with its paint cracking in the same pattern as the bed of Death Valley, that used to be bedroom quiet in the darkest part of night, that used to be a haven for whispered drug deals. But now the drug deals are done inside, and the whispers are of lovers making deals, and the street has been narrowed, and our eyes widened. The story goes like this. Coffee has been spilled. The woman who ordered the coffee is, by all accounts, lovely. She wears a sundress that drapes on her body modestly, but with terrific suggestion that her body is under this cotton floral print and has the potential to do things. And now, the coffee that has spilled seeps into that cotton right on her breasts, where you now can see the outline, the bottom curve where they bulb on her chest, the nipples. The coffee is very hot. Everyone in the cafe knows this because the woman, incongruous with her pixie haircut, her soft round cheeks, her glossy pink lips, her linen lace-up espadrilles, screeches out a nasty, nasally, "Fuck!" She bends forward, pulls on the top of her dress. She says it again, "Fuck!" She then looks wildly at the barista, a young man with a trimmed beard and a very thin, low-cut V-neck that flaunts his chest hair. This man who has stumbled against the counter and lost control of the freshly poured coffee that is spilled onto the pixie woman's sundress and says, "Fuck you." There is another woman in the cafe. She is, to most, still considered young. Her daughter, with thin, mousy brown hair identical to her mother's, sits across from her and sees her mother's light blue eyes widen, watches her mother swing her head towards the pixie woman, who is still pulling the dress away from her chest in an awkward bend of her body. "Excuse me, there is a child present." The daughter watches her mother's lips involuntarily tug towards her nose, and she might even call it a snarl, like that of a dog. Her mother was not a dog. She was usually calculated and muted, as if the animal instinct were rubbed out of her with sandpaper, and all that was left was a bone-smooth polish, her buffed fingernails reflecting little boxes of the window light. The girl was too young to know of her mother's disappointments, all the lovers who had left, including her father, a schoolteacher who thought he wanted a child of his own to practice his years of accrued insight, but who soon realized he taught in a classroom because it was window parenting, and that he more enjoyed a life that was outside looking in. The mother often concedes that the men leave because of the daughter, but shakes her head violently to push the thought away. Yet it sits inside her, quietly breathing into the corners of whatever is left of her dreams. The mother packs up, rips out her keys, mumbling words like crass and young and bitch, and leaps out of the chair. "Come on, Sabrina," then glares at the pixie woman and storms out of the shop. Sabrina grabs her mother's half-drunk cup and follows out the door. "Mom, you forgot your coffee." The mother swings around and pulls hard on Sabrina's arm. "Come on." The coffee spills onto the sidewalk. The force of the anger, the energy that brews in the mother's body and releases in the seethe of the command, and the grip of the fingers on the flesh, is so pointed, so specific, that it travels into the girl. Red, finger-wide bruises bloom under her skin. The shock of the energy, the pain of its force, goes through Sabrina, the look of her mother's fury superimposed onto her, like the memory, like the atomic silhouettes radiated onto concrete walls. That memory will eclipse so many others, even of more profound events, and will reveal itself several times in Sabrina's adulthood, most often as she makes love to men she has grown fond of and worries will leave. It is in the heaviness of sex that the memory will emerge, as if from deep water, the image of her mother's small, tight face, the grit of her mouth, the grip of her hand. And with that, Sabrina will transmit the force of the memory onto her lover, his face flushed, damp with sweat, through her fingernails, pressing deeper into his chest and pulling down until a small line of blood blooms from his skin and his eyes open and widen with the instinct of terror. "Stay with me," she wants to say.